I? I'm a privileged prince who can't stop whining about something that happened 15 years ago, even though my big brother already handled it. Instead, I'm complaining about the media, to the media, which I guess means I'm not the brightest person out there. I am making bizarre claims about the potential of something happening to my wife, who couldn't make it in Hollywood, so now we all have to suffer. Oh, and yeah, she likes to cosplay as my mother sometimes, claiming that her spirit talks to her. Although the only evidence that our lives have ever been put in danger was a fabricated car chase, we can't help but try to recreate my mother's passing. Oh, and my grandmother, who passed away and can't defend herself for my bizarre claims, apparently approves of the shithole I have led my life into. Who am I? If you guys guessed Prince Harry, you are correct. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Scandalous Media. It's Angela here, and despite multiple fails and global backlash, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle still haven't once thought about seeing how they could be wrong and how they're going about things. Oh no, it's all of us who are wrong and these two weirdos are right, because despite the facts, they still believe their version of the truth. The Psychology of Prince Harry, a 52-minute special on our channel, dove deep into the mind of Harry and his upbringing that led to the theatrics we see today, so be sure to check it out along with the Psychology of Meghan Markle, which exposes Meghan's tricks and how she works. In this video, I'm going to break down all the bizarre things Harry said in his ITV interview about phone hacking, as well as all of his lies. You guys know exposing Harry and Meghan's lies is this channel's specialty, whether it was on Oprah, the 6 soap opera episodes on Netflix, in Spare, or a regular Tuesday. If their mouths are open, a lie must be coming out. I'm also going to discuss Meghan's latest trip to the Hamptons, where she was reportedly excluded from Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop event, as celebrities deliberately dodged her. If you guys like my videos on Harry and Meghan, be sure to like and subscribe for new content each week. Check out my Harry and Meghan playlist for more. Lately, you guys have been loving our Embarrassing Moments series on them. Follow us on our social media, check out our merch store to support us, and without further ado, let's get started. Victim Harry blames tabloids for family fallout. The past couple of months have been hilarious because The Duke and Duchess of Delusions have been a comedy show that is constantly on the verge of being cancelled, yet somehow surviving for another season. Kind of like Suits when Meghan was on it despite her version of the truth. On July 25th, Harry's ITV documentary, Tabloids on Trial, was released. For some reason, it was being teased as the first time Harry's speaking about his rift with his family, even though all he has done the past 4 years is speak about exactly that. The 6-hour soap opera, the Oprah interview, the Moan More, I mean, I can go on and on and on. How dumb do they think we are? To refresh your memory, Harry has been part of a phone hacking court case for a while now, even though it's a 20-year-old case that already got resolved, one he's using for financial gain and public sympathy. To show you just how qualified he is to lead this case, when questioned in the High Court last year, he said, "I don't know" 18 times and "I don't remember" 9 times. He also mentioned his ex-girlfriend Chelsea Davy 118 times, while Meghan was referenced only 5 times. God forbid Chelsea wanted privacy or something, oh no. Harry and Meghan will drag everyone and anyone through the mud while screaming, "We want privacy." In his interview with Rebecca Berry, Harry said that his legal fight with the tabloids was a central piece in the breakdown of his relationship with his family.
Your determination to fight the tabloids destroyed the relationship with your family.
I think there's,
Oh no! Now it's just
that's certainly a central piece to it. But you know,
You would think the central piece was both Meghan and him going on Oprah and spewing the most vile lies, or having his wife claim they got married 3 days earlier to avoid the so-called spectacle of the wedding.
You know, 3 days before our wedding, we got married. No one knows that, but we called the Archbishop and we just said, look, this spectacle is for the world, but we want our union between us.
Leading to the Archbishop almost getting fired because of their lies. How about leaking a private conversation between him and his family?
that conversation I'm never going to share.
Primarily a name being named in the Dutch version of your book.
Well, two names.
And presenting it to the world as his family is so racist, they were so scared Archie was gonna come out dark, even though the only one obsessed with race here is Meghan and her love for Lily's
Blue eyes.
She's got the same blue eyes.
Blue eyes.
Did I mention that all of this was happening while Prince Philip was in the hospital dying? And then after all that went down, Harry went on yet another ITV interview and claimed that he and Meghan never called his family racist.
In the Oprah interview, you accuse members of your family of racism. You don't even...
We didn't.
Well,
The British press said that.
Concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
There was some real obvious signs before we even got married that this was going to be really hot.
Blue eyes.
Don't even get me started on all the BS spewed and spare, from Harry making fun of William's balding, to recalling a story where Catherine grimaced because No Boundaries Meghan wanted her lip gloss.
His alarming baldness, more advanced than my own, his famous resemblance to Mummy, which was fading with time, with age.
To the endless lies spewed on Netflix, a special that was aired after the Queen passed away as Meghan cried crocodile tears to get that camera shot. Unfortunately for her, she was never the greatest of actors.
You're the one who has created a rift in your own family. What did you expect us to do? Look the other way and go, oh, Harry and Meghan are saying all this stuff.
You would think gossiping and lying about his family alongside his wife would piss any family member off, but no. Victim Harry is blaming everything on the tabloids as if the tabloids only cover them and not everyone who's a public figure. Get this, he has the audacity to say,
Anything I say about my family results in a torrent of abuse from the press.
Well,
Duh.
you can't possibly think that you can gossip about your family, lie, and do all of this, no, not in the comforts of your own home with your neighbor, but on national television and expect no one to bat an eyelid. Rather, he wants praise. Yeah, you go, Harry, call your brother bald, act like a little girl and complain about your sister-in-law's lip gloss, start this whole conspiracy about your brother and father not being able to escape this institution. Woohoo, keep going. Write about how you can shoot at your father's car, but instead you'll spare him. Is that what you want?
I couldn't have written an article more intrusive than spare. I literally wouldn't have been allowed by the legal department.
Yet it gets more bizarre. Harry claimed that he wanted to do this as a family.
It would be nice if we did it as a family. I believe that.
Do what, you may ask? Take on the press. It'd be nice if they did it as a family? What a ridiculous and incompetent thing to say. Taking on the media one by one is like replying to every single person who doesn't like you on social media. The further you go, the deeper you dig your grave. And his father told him this. He warned him of what this would do to him because you can't possibly control the press, and Harry didn't listen. You know what's nice to do as a family? Dinners, picnics, bike rides in the park. Suing the tabloids because you don't like what they say isn't a family activity, and not even his mummy did that. But since Harry likes to avoid facts, this particular suing the press as a family bonding activity was already handled by those who have fixed his image and life for years, his family. And as per usual, it was William who took care of things. William already handled it, but that's not enough for victim Harry. Harry and Meghan are doing everything in their power to discredit the media because the media holds the platform to broadcast their lies. Understand this. That is the only reason why he's doing this. This is proven in 2 points. Number 1, William already handled this phone hacking case. And number 2, Harry and Meghan are just as guilty of using the media as anyone else, but they only want to be portrayed in a good light. It was William who alerted law enforcement of phone hacking, which led to the Leveson inquiry that changed British media laws forever and prosecuted those who broke the law. That was the start of the phone hacking scandal.
Alerted by William's suspicions, the police began an investigation and 9 months later made their first arrests. It was the start of what became the phone hacking scandal.
William was supposed to have a private meeting with Tom Bradby, and the date and details of the meeting leaked before they had a chance to sit down, which led to an investigation into what the heck was going on.
I didn't tell anyone about that, and there it was in the news of the world the next morning.
This also led to the arrest of royal editor Clive Goodman in 2006. Notice how William isn't some delusional victim who pointed the finger at Tom and put the blame on him for the leak. Instead, he said,
William said to me, I know totally it wasn't you, but that is a bit weird, isn't it? How the hell did that get out?
Which led them to critically think and get to the bottom of this, a practice lost in the delusional world of Harry and Meghan.
Right.
Tom Bradby said that William passed his concerns onto the police, and the police had a small investigation to begin with into the localized incident in Clarence house. That was when they discovered everything and handed the story over to IT specialists. What they didn't do was whine in court and cry, "Woe is me." Thanks to Harry's court documents in April 2023, where he was arguing why his lawsuit should not be thrown out, he brought William into it yet again by revealing that William quietly received a very large sum of money in a 2020 phone hacking settlement with the UK newspaper. Since Harry has a hidden agenda, he reveals that detail as if to prove that his family collaborates with the tabloids, and therefore that proves their secret agreement. The amount William received is believed to be around $1 million plus. However, one source questioned how the payout could be described as a secret if Harry knew about it. Another royal source says that Harry could have gotten a similar payout, but instead chose to go rogue. Since Harry was a victim in the phone hacking case, he most likely was offered a settlement, one we assume he denied because the fact that he decided to publicize this whole thing shows me that he had ulterior motives. Other people believe that since Harry didn't have as big a role as William in the hacking case, you know, considering William got hacked more than him and he took the first legal steps in exposing all of this, that Harry wasn't offered as big an amount. I even believe Meghan had some part to play in it by whispering in his ear, "No, you deserve the same amount. If anything, you deserve more." You know, someone has to be feeding his delusions. After all, he previously admitted that he wanted to sue the press after bumping into David Sherburne in France around 2018, which makes no sense, but notice how after he got married to Meghan in 2018, suddenly all the court cases started coming up? Anyway, if you guys want more information about everything Harry revealed in court, check out my video on that. William didn't want to have a whole high-profile court case like Harry, who has a serious case of attention-seeking. He chose to settle privately and get this over with while benefiting from not going to court and potentially revealing personal details. Mind you, William was hacked 35 times, Catherine was hacked 155 times, and Harry was hacked 9 times. But who's the one moping around in the press? The person who was hacked the least amount of times, and after everything was already handled. As to what Harry's doing even though the story has already been handled by William is insane. Think about it, everything Harry and Meghan have done has been centered on the tabloids. The Oprah interview, Spare, the Netflix soap opera, the Snooze Fest podcast, Archetypes, every interview, and now this. So they don't hate the media. In fact, I think they love it more than anything. They just hate that they can't control it. Even Diana, who was one of the biggest topics in the media, only sued a media company once, and that was when they secretly photographed her working out in the gym privately and then published the photos. There were also multiple reports of Diana leaking information to the media, giving secret interviews, and even planning paparazzi pictures. Everyone is entitled to free speech, but oh wait, what did Harry call the First Amendment of the Constitution?
I got so much I want to say about the First Amendment. I still don't understand it, but it is bonkers.
You're not very pretty. And you're not very bright.
In the US, Harry and Meghan have paid PR articles going out about them all the time. They're the ones that sell the exclusives to People magazine, E! News, Vanity Fair, and so much more. The US media is easily bought considering all celebrities have contracts with them. He claims that his family and palace never helped him with the media, yet they were cleaning up his image for decades. He wrote in Spare that it was a palace courtier who alerted him of the media wanting to leak photos of him doing cocaine. One that Harry admits is a true story, but gaslighted the palace courtier instead and told him to call the media's bluff. Notice how 1, the media wasn't lying, and 2, the palace did protect him. It's only when Meghan decided they didn't, he followed based on no facts. Suing the press is for the greater good. A delusional man. Harry believes that he had to sue the press because,
from a service standpoint, and when you're in a public role, that these are the things that we should be doing for the greater good.
Ah yes, the man who won the Pat Tillman Award for Service thinks that the royal family's job as public servants should be wasting time suing the press. Despite the housing crisis, cost of living, economy, they should use the taxpayers' money to sue over something that was already handled.
But, you know, I'm doing this for my reasons.
I think that's the craziest thing in all of this. Harry's acting like the big dog, oh look at me, I'm a man and I'm handling this for my family, when as per usual, William already handled it, but even better. He claims that,
I don't think there's anybody else in the world that is better suited and placed to be able to see this through than myself.
which is painfully funny since he was the second to do this after William.
Alerted by William's suspicions, the police began an investigation. By William's suspicions.
Than myself.
By William.
Let's just laugh at him now.
Always second, aren't you, Harry? He even says,
I think everything that's played out has shown people what the truth of the matter is.
Which, yes, you're right, Harry. You showed everyone that you're beating a dead bush trying to find some gold while simultaneously exposing yourself for lack of critical thinking skills.
But it's caused, as you say, part of a rift.
And of course, he once again blames this whole thing for causing a rift with his family, which is hilarious to say the least.
For the greater good.
His alarming baldness, more advanced than my own. It's pretty cutting.
I don't see it as cutting at all. At the time it was awkward, I was a bit shocked. When someone who's marrying in, who should be a supporting act, is then stealing the limelight or is doing the job better than the person who was born to do.
Called Waity Katie, waiting to marry William.
For the greater good.
Is he taking your calls now?
Yeah. He is. For the greater good. I was brought into the world in case something happened to Willie. I was summoned to provide backup, distraction, diversion, and, if necessary, a spare pot. From a service standpoint, kidney perhaps, blood transfusion, speck of bone marrow. These are the things that we should be doing. You're so brave.
Paranoia and Diana yet again. When told that other victims of hacking described feelings of paranoia, Harry disagreed that it was paranoia to try to sound smart and find a loophole to bring Diana into this again, saying,
But then when you're vindicated, it proves that you weren't being paranoid. You know, same with my mother. You know, there is evidence to suggest that she was being hacked in the mid-90s, probably one of the first people to be hacked. And yet, still today, the press, the tabloid press, very much enjoy painting her as being paranoid.
He's trying to paint Diana out to be someone who sat in the castle 24/7 and didn't do anything that warranted attention, and that simply wasn't true. As I said, Diana was known to court the media and leak stories to get her revenge on the palace, so I guess that's one thing Meghan has in common with her. Harry also claims that Diana had her phone hacked despite there being no evidence to that claim. Either way, it made no sense to bring Diana into this, but since Harry's a victim who can't stop bringing up his mother's death, and he has his deep insecurity as the spare, he's trying to mirror his mother's life, claiming that he is experiencing the same paranoia as Diana. But I thought she wasn't paranoid. Of course, he seems to be hitting back at William, who made a statement in May 2021 about the BBC's deceit and how it affected his mother, saying,
"Made lurid and false claims about the royal family, which played on her fears and fueled paranoia."
Their lapdog Omid Scobie was quick to make comparisons to try to make William out to be the bad guy while Harry is the underdog hero. After dragging the BBC, William says,
"Is that if the BBC had properly investigated the complaints and concerns first raised in 1995, my mother would have known that she'd been deceived."
Notice how the way William talks shows he wanted to get justice for Diana, as opposed to Harry, who believes he's the first to do anything.
Does your mother motivate you in this legal fight?
There's all sorts of things that motivate me.
William also says,
"Indescribable sadness to know that the BBC's failures contributed significantly to her fear, paranoia and isolation that I remember from those final years with her."
And this is important because William was the oldest who had to be the adult in the relationship with his mother since she leaned on him during her divorce. So obviously William knew a lot more of what was going on, unlike Harry, who is trying to paint William as a liar while getting revenge for Diana, even though he admits that he has no early memories of his mother. In the 2021 documentary The Me You Can't See, Harry says,
I don't have many early memories of my mum.
I mean, it's very bizarre how he's trying to rewrite history. Remember when he attacked royal correspondent Camilla Tamani in Spare, accusing her of always getting stuff wrong when reporting on his life? She revealed that she used to have a good working relationship with Harry, but he simply can't handle criticism. Mind you, Harry was known as a troublemaker, whether that was during his partying scandals or even before Diana passed, when she wrote in October 1992, "The boys are well and enjoying boarding school a lot, although Harry is constantly in trouble." And sorry, but Harry is paranoid. There's a celebrity blind site that has been around for a while called Crazy Days and Nights, where they recently posted a blind item about Harry and Meghan. The blind says, Meghan keeps playing up the paranoia card to the point where Harry actually inquired about uniformed police protection for every time one of them leaves home. We know that Harry has to be paranoid because the fact that he hasn't been chased or even spotted on a regular day out outside of his house shows us that he actually doesn't get followed. So on what basis is he this paranoid? Well, we saw Meghan aid in his paranoia by pointing out someone chasing them and staring at him as he started panicking on Netflix. Meanwhile, there wasn't anyone there as proven by the cameras filming. The only person in the vicinity was a pedestrian on a city bike who biked past them without so much of a second look. And watch how Meghan stares Harry down. Or how Meghan faked being stalked and used stock images, particularly one of a man in his car with a camera, to prove something that didn't happen because no one cared about a D-lister on a cable television show. There are endless examples of this.
Has Meghan tipped off photographers since she's been with Harry?
I'm gonna have to say no comment.
Yeah.
No comment? Well, that's not a no.
Meghan makes him paranoid by feeding him lies that aren't true. I covered all of this in my deep dive on their Netflix series, where Meghan pretended to be the single girl vacationing in Europe, trying to only focus on herself while everything was good and the show was at its peak. Meanwhile, that wasn't true. She was still living with her ex Corey Vitello when she met Harry, Suits was on its last legs, and she was on the hunt for Harry, considering she asked a British TV host to set her up with famous English men, and her childhood friend exposed her obsession with Diana. Meghan trying to recreate Diana's fatal ending in a fake New York car chase while she was smiling and posing from ear to ear aided in Harry's paranoia because she's constantly telling him that what happened to Diana will happen to her. And this is exposed in Spare, which brings us into Harry's next bizarre claim. Meghan won't return to the UK because her life will be in danger. The most bizarre part of the documentary was Harry's claims that, because of the tabloids, someone might take a knife to Meghan or throw acid on her.
All it takes is one lone actor, one person who reads this stuff to act on what they have read. And whether it's a knife or acid, whatever it is, and these are things that are a genuine concern for me. It's one of the reasons why I won't bring my wife back to this country.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. No, it doesn't!
What an insane and highly damaging statement to make. It's like they romanticize traumatic stories in hopes of people treating them as victims of trauma to feed their egos. Out of all the people in the world, whether that's loved or hated celebrities, loved or hated politicians, Meghan Markle is the one that can't travel? What's even worse is that the week he says this, there was a horrific knife attack in Southport where children were killed. This led to race riots in the UK with mosques under attack, shops being destroyed, and absolutely horrific situations that are affecting the lives of people everywhere. It's insanely heartbreaking, but instead, we have this privileged prince living in a potential scenario to grift money for security to feed his wife's ego, considering they'll never be put in that situation because of their privilege. Like, you cannot be serious. At the height of Meghan and Harry's popularity, no one chased them or even cared for them. If anything, they chased the fame and attention and it ran away from them. They didn't even have footage of paparazzi chasing them or photographing them, so they had to use stock images or pictures from the Harry Potter movie premiere. And anyone in celebrity culture knows what it looks like when you're actually important, to the point where you can't go anywhere without a fan craze. I mean, look at Justin Bieber trying to eat lunch in Australia in 2017, or Rihanna in Paris in 2014, Kim and Kanye in 2014, Taylor Swift in Japan in 2017, Demi Lovato in Argentina in 2012, One Direction at LAX in 2013. And then you have Meghan Markle. So sorry. As someone who covers relevant and popular A++ celebrities, I know what it looks like to genuinely fear for your safety because of crowds. And over the past decade or so, that fan craze has died down immensely. None of the new stars get chased like this. But Harry and Meghan have been trying for years to convince us that they're so important. Where's the proof?
When someone who's marrying in, who should be a supporting act, is then stealing the limelight or is doing the job better than the person who was born to do this, that upsets people. It shifts the balance. Stealing the limelight, that upsets people. It shifts the balance.
Right. Meghan on the Vanity Fair red carpet, soaking in the attention and needing to be physically pushed off. However, Harry and Meghan do this for two reasons. One, they believe they are that important because Meghan feeds that to Harry to fill her ego, and two, they want someone to fund their security. We saw at the ESPYs how they walked around with a security team even though no one cared for them, or Meghan in Nigeria with her security standing right behind her even though she's next to the wealthiest women in Nigeria. Harry's claims are another dramatic sob story to get the British taxpayers to pay for their security. A big thing that Harry is not focusing on is the fact that if he, Meghan, and the kids were to see important royals or attend royal events, he would get the best security there is to offer. Instead, he is asking for top-class protection 24/7 paid for by the taxpayers while being non-working royals. He could accept a slightly lower level, but he doesn't want that. It's a game of greed and grift. And it's not like anyone can get that close to them unless they're trying to insinuate that someone from the royal family, such as William, who Harry accused of bullying him and his wife out of the palace, would be the one to attack them. Like, where are we going from here? If Meghan and Harry feared for their safety to the point where Meghan couldn't step foot in the UK, why did they move to California where the crime rate is rapidly increasing in a country where gun laws are a big debate considering the amount of school shootings Americans suffer? California ranks 17th in national violent crime rates, not to mention Lagos, Nigeria is one of Africa's most crime-ridden cities. Yet Harry and Meghan had no problem jetting there so Meghan could scam some more royal titles. If you ask me, Meghan is scared to return to the UK because she's too ashamed to show her face. She's terrified of getting booed and facing her actions. Look how intimidated she was by Catherine at the Queen's funeral. She's all talk when she's hiding in the alleyways of Montecito because she can't lay in the bed she created. Harry says that he can't wait to host the Invictus Games in Birmingham in 2027 and make it a family-friendly event with the veterans. So let me get this straight. It's too dangerous for Meghan and the kids that no one sees, but not for anyone else? If this so-called potential attacker can reach and harm Meghan, can they also not harm the people at the event, including yourself? Either way, if we can be saved from Meghan embarrassingly leading a military parade in her beach outfit, then I guess
a win is a win. A win is a win. I don't care what y'all say, a win is a win.
Harry claims the Queen would have supported him. In his tour of making claims that can't be disproven because the person is no longer here, Harry shifts focus from his mother to his grandmother, the late Queen. He claimed that he had many conversations with her and that she would have supported whatever the hell he's doing right now.
We had many conversations before she passed. This is very much something that she supported. She knew how much this meant to me. I think she's very much up there going, see this through to the end, without question.
She didn't even support him while she was alive, so I don't know where he gets off lying like this. What Harry and his wife are doing right now is the Queen's nightmare and a PR disaster, to say the least. The Queen didn't give interviews and lived by the motto, never complain, never explain. The Queen didn't trust him in her final years and reportedly only spent 15 minutes with him and Meghan at the Platinum Jubilee, with many reports even saying that he could barely get past her security. So when and how did these great conversations take place? In her final weeks, Harry and Meghan were filming their disastrous Netflix soap opera, where in episode 3 they dive deep into Britain's colonial past and its role in slavery. They mentioned the monarchs before her, and if you watch the episode, it was done in a way to make the viewer want to send hate to the Queen herself. It was absolutely insane. And honestly, it must be exhausting being Harry and Meghan, constantly inventing stories to prove their lies. You would think they lived on a secluded island with an uncontacted tribe with the way they lie. It's almost as if there aren't millions of people in their world watching everything going down and having the brain capacity to be like, hey, that didn't happen. Meghan in the Hamptons. Meghan has Harry digging his life and career in a hole by making him say all the things she wants him to. Because when the time comes, perhaps a divorce or Harry turning on Meghan, suddenly it's going to be, well, you did all that, not me. I was at the Hamptons building my career. She attended the G9 Ventures Summer Summit, an event aimed at elite businesswomen, where she was photographed with Misha Nunu and Bobby Brown. A source told Page 6 that Meghan flew in from Santa Barbara by private jet with IT Cosmetics co-founder Jamie Kern-Lima. Here she is photographed with Jamie and Spanx founder Sarah Blakely at the event, held at the secluded $13 million estate of power broker Amy Griffin and her billionaire hedge funder husband John Griffin. Naomi Watts, Reese Witherspoon, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Julianne Hogue were also in attendance, but Meghan seemed to have caught up with her old friends rather than make new connections. Later on, there was a dinner where a source told Page 6 Meghan arrived solo and walked to the maitre d' herself through the crowded restaurant. They were there for 3 hours. Another onlooker, or spy as Page 6 writes, said that Meghan roamed around the room without security and was seen chatting with some recognizable names. Notice how suddenly Meghan doesn't need her security around her to pretend like she's so important to the point that it's life-threatening, considering she had them roam with her at the ESPYs and in an exclusive successful women's event in Nigeria. Suddenly, Meghan wants to portray that she's one of them in the Hamptons, and she wants to fit in so they can accept her. Many even pointed out that she chose not to pack on the bronzer at this event, versus others where she is accused of using her black card when it benefits her. She was even photographed next to Jamie, where you can see the usual Meghan claw resting on Jamie. We see Meghan do this often to showcase a more personal relationship with the person, and in the past, she was denied a resting place for the claw. We saw this at Kevin Costner's event when she tried to grab the microphone, again at South by Southwest Festival, and even at the ESPYs. From a psychological point of view, the personal touch is done to show this warm and friendly aura where the person is so touched by the act. And in the case of Jamie, she posted on her story pointing out how Meghan held her arm with such love, and in turn, Meghan is now a loving and supportive friend in her eyes. But wait until Jamie doesn't hear from Meghan unless she's of value for her. This is also something we have discussed in the psychology of Prince Harry. After all, Meghan never replied to the letter Tyler Perry sent her in 2018 around the royal wedding until both she and Harry wanted to use his house. The funniest part is that they admit this on Netflix. Interestingly enough, Meghan didn't seem to be invited to Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop event, and we know that Meghan has been trying to create a similar brand to Goop, one she got called out for supposedly copying. Either she opted for the dinner at Sarantino's, or she wasn't invited. Gwyneth hosted the event, and guess who was there? Delphina Blacker, aka Nacho Figueres' wife, aka Polo friends of Meghan and Harry. So was Cameron Diaz, who Meghan was supposedly dining with at sushi that one time. So this made people think, why was Meghan not invited to this event, or why did she not attend if she was invited? Because over the past year or so, she has been trying to make these exact connections. And people couldn't help but point out that Goop's gift bags were pretty and looked luxurious, and of course it drew comparisons to the Archwell Foundation bags given out in Nigeria. Seems like celebrities not being photographed with Meghan at the Hamptons was a deliberate move. An insider told News Nation that Meghan is having trouble cracking the A-list in the Hamptons, with one insider saying they know that if they are in a picture with Meghan, it is tacit approval of her that she can use to promote herself. Meghan can show up at events where they are at, move into their neighborhood, but they are not friends. Despite launching American Riviera Orchard a couple of months ago, she still hasn't launched anything to the public, and it's starting to seem like she's tying up loose ends behind the scenes. Whether that's getting more connections or a sponsor, something isn't quite right. So that, plus Harry's bizarre ITV interview, it seems like once again, things aren't looking right for the duo. Of course, their CBS interview just came out, where Meghan and Harry resorted to yet again bringing up things that they said that happened to them during the royal family days. Oh god, Meghan was a working royal for 72 days over 4 years ago, and we have not heard the end of it since. Well, that's all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to let me know what you guys think in the comments. What other Meghan and Harry videos would you like to see? Check out the psychology series on Harry and Meghan. Be sure to like and subscribe for new videos each week. Check out our blog and merch store if you want to support us. Follow us on our social media, and as always, I'll see you next time.